A tuner set to 440 Hz will indicate the sound produced by the instrument according to concert pitch. If you play the C above middle C on a piano, then the tuner will indicate that this C above middle C is being produced. The written note and the note heard are the same. However, if you played the fingering for this C on an alto or baritone saxophone, then the tuner will not indicate that this C above middle C is being produced, but that an E flat was being produced instead. Similarly, if you played the fingering for this C on a tenor or soprano saxophone, then the tuner would indicate that a B flat was being produced. The reason for this is that saxophones are transposing instruments. There is a difference between a note being played and a note being heard. Usually if you're playing saxophone sheet music, then the music would already have been transposed for the saxophone being played. However, a person playing a saxophone and a person playing a piano could not play from the same sheet music because the sounds produced would be different. They would both be playing in different keys. Either the piano sheet music or the saxophone sheet music would have to be changed or transposed, so both instruments would play in the same key. To make the alto saxophone sound at the same pitch as the piano, all the notes in the music would have to be raised by a major 6, or 9 semitones or half tones. This would ensure that the saxophone was playing in the correct key and at the correct pitch. Alternatively, all the notes could be lowered by a minor third, or 3 semitones or 3 half tones. This would mean that the saxophone was playing in the correct key, but an octave lower than the piano. This may be necessary in order to fit all of the sheet music within the limited range of the saxophone. So to recap, if you want the sound coming out of your alto saxophone to sound at the same pitch as on the piano, you have to raise the finger note by a major 6 or lower it by a minor third, which would sound an octave lower. From this we can build up the following chart, which shows the fingered notes and the actual sound produced by the saxophone. For example, if you want to produce the sound of an F, you must finger a D on the alto saxophone. Now let's explore how to transpose sheet music which was composed for concert pitch playing instruments like the piano in order to be played on the alto saxophone. I will show you 2 ways to do this. Method 1. The first way is to use a table. Work out using the key signature of the sheet music what sound needs to be produced. Then look at the equivalent fingered notes for the saxophone and write it down using the key signature of C. This method will put the transposed music in the key of C, since all the accidentals will be written out on the staff. The only problem that may result from this method is that the transposed music may have a lot of accidentals. This is why you can have Charlie Parker omnibooks transposed from alto to concert pitch to tenor and have them all written in the key signature of C. So let's see this in practice. Here is the first line of Charlie Parker's My Little Suede Shoes, written for concert pitch. It is in the key of C, so the first 3 notes are B flat, E flat and G. To sound these notes on the alto according to the chart, I need to finger G, C and E. These are the fingerings which will produce the actual sounds I need, so I use the key of C which has no flats or sharps to change these actual notes. So here are the first 3 notes, G, C and E, that I have to finger, and I'll continue doing this for all of the notes in the sheet music. Method 2. In this method you also change the key signature, which will make the transposed music look more or less like the original music. There are a few stages to this. Step 1. First identify all the accidentals. Step 2. Move all the notes down according to this rule. If a note is on a line, move it to the next line down. If a note is in a space, move it to the next space down. Step 3. Change the key by moving it either a major 6 up or a minor third down. Step 4. Adjust the accidentals so they form the same interval with the notes next to it with the new key signature as it had with the original. For example, the original music was in the key of C and the first note was B flat. This is a half tone or semitone lower than B, which is in the original key. So the transposed note must also be lowered by a half a tone or semitone. The new key signature shows that this note is G sharp, so a natural sign must be placed before it so that this note is lowered by half a tone or semitone. All the other identified accidentals can be adjusted in the same way. The new key signature will take care of all the other notes not identified. Lastly, raise all the notes up an octave to match the original pitch of the music. or keep them the same, which will be an octave lower than the original music. The choice of whether to raise or lower all the notes at this stage will be determined by whether the music fits within the range of the saxophone. Depending on how the original music was arranged, one method may be better than the other.